So how do you form a team? Well, there's lots of types. Business teams, you and several coworkers. An affiliate team, which could just be affiliate members, maybe some family and friends of those folks in the affiliate. A family team, which could be you, a spouse, children, and maybe some other family members. Social service teams can come from any kind of social service agency that you're involved with, and churches are a really untapped resource for things like this. People in churches love to get involved, youth groups, whoever. That really is something that we need to be focusing on. And then finally, a combination of any of these kind of types. This is a formula for a standard 10-person team. Again, this kind of stuff comes from the national group, and maybe your makeup for your team is not exactly like this, but it gives you some ideas of where you can look in some different categories. So how much money do you have to raise personally? Well, of course, the answer is as much as you can. But if you start with the goal of $100 per walker, and not just for you, but for everyone on your team, that seems a little less intimidating to people. So if you just start with that goal, and then, of course, anything above and beyond that is great, you're a little more likely to have a reachable goal. Again, over here on the side, it says ask certain people for a certain amount. Those are just guidelines, just some things to give you some ideas. The number one best way to get donations is to write a letter. Not only because you're taking the time to write this letter and send it to these people thoughtfully, but it has everything in it that makes for a successful campaign. Not only are you sharing your story, but you're talking about all these important points, and people really get a great idea of why this is so important to you when you take the time to write this letter and line it all out for them. So what should your letter say? Well, you can see the things on your screen that tell you all these different talking points. But first and foremost, you need to tell at least a little bit of your story. Maybe you don't need to give all the gory details, but just the basics are a good start. You also definitely want to say what NAMI is, why it's important to you, what it's done for you. Along with that, your fundraising goal, what you are personally going to give may be important. Make sure you mention that donations are tax deductible and that checks need to be payable to NAMI. That credit card donations are accepted online, and make sure you give them a link to your personal Walker page, or send your address, maybe even give them a stamped envelope if you can afford to do that. And definitely invite them to join your team. The more people you get on your team, the more people we reach with our message, and the more people who hear about NAMI. So who do you send it to? Well, we all have about a pool of 200 people around us that we can have an effect on at any given time. That may seem like a lot of people, but I can tell you personally that in just about an hour that I sat and went through all of my email contacts from 2 different email addresses, I found about, I think, 89 people that I was going to send my letter to. And those were people that I knew would not be duplicated by other folks. So that's a pretty good pool already to start with. You might use your holiday card list, friends, coworkers, businesses, members of your social organizations, those kinds of folks. Also in your letter, tell people that if they know somebody else, they want to forward your letter to anyone else that might want to hear your story, to do that. So, maybe it ends up kind of making its rounds to people that may not even know you. A couple of tips. Keep some letters with you. There are going to be people you don't have their mailing address or their email address, and you might run into them somewhere. That way you can just hand them a letter. And share your letter with your teammates so that they're able to use what you've written to write their own letter. For some folks, writing a letter might be a little intimidating. There's a couple of different ways around that. One is when you register online, there's actually a template that you can use for your letter. You just enter, you edit it to say whatever you want it to say. You enter in all your email addresses that you want to send it to, and it's done for you. I also have developed a generic letter that anyone is welcome to use. At your affiliate meeting, you'll be given a copy of that letter. I also have it electronically, so if you want me to email it to you, I'm happy to do that. You can edit it to say what you want, or you can send it out the way it is. So if writing the letter is a difficult thing for you, there's really no excuse right now because everything's pretty much lined out for you. We're here to help you do it, and it really does make for a much more successful campaign. So what does a team captain do? Well, the team captain organizes their team. They make sure everyone's registered. They guide the walkers in fundraising, which is really quite easy because team captains are going to receive emails on a regular basis, and those emails will give them the tools that they need to do their coaching. Not only that, but they can forward the majority of those emails to their team members, and they're pretty much done with their coaching for that week. Lead by example. Team captains definitely want to write the letter and share that with the people on their team. Team captain is responsible for collection of money for their team. There are lots of different ways that folks do that. Many of them are very successful. It just depends on the way your team operates. But we definitely would encourage you to send in money before walk day, or at least convert it all to one check by walk day. It makes it much easier for you to keep track of and for us. The fun part, you get to design a team t-shirt, hang some posters around your town, maintain your Look Who's Walking poster. Just keep in touch with us to see if there's anything you need or anything we can help you with. Win some prizes along the way. Have a great time on walk day, and make sure you thank your donors. You probably want to keep track with a list of some sort so that you can make sure people are given their proper thanks. It's really not that difficult. That sounded like a lot of stuff. But the total investment for a team captain is 15 to 25 hours, and 4 of those hours are on walk day itself. So we're really talking about maybe 20 hours invested over the span of about 4 months. So if you work that all out, you're only talking about maybe an hour a week. And really, that can be as much as intensive or as not intensive as you want it to be. I mean, of course, the better that you coach your team, the better that your team is likely to do. But we're here to help you do that. So we don't want it to be very labor-intensive for you. We don't want this to be a chore. We want this to be something fun that we can help you through, you can be successful with.